For the last 3 months, I haven't touched my CRM to update leads, create CRM tasks, and it has been a blast. Because of that, I got so much time back that I managed to jump my number of new conversations started with leads by 40% and doubled my ability to run convos with warm leads. However, some of our customers and prospects still have a hard time to fully get how Breakcold's AI works. In this video, I will show you step by step how you can leverage what we call Breakcold vision so that you can reduce your time doing manual data entry to sell more. This video will be long and a bit boring, and I know it's a bit counterintuitive, but it can probably be one of your best investments if you watch it, if you want your time back. Alright guys, so I know some of you don't like long videos, so I just made those vision cheat sheets that you can download by clicking on the link in the description. So I'll go through those cheat sheets rapidly, but if you prefer to see the full tutorial, just skip this and go straight away to the different chapters of this video. But right now, I will go step by step according to the cheat sheet. So yeah, if you want to have the structured version, you watch this. If you don't want to have the structured version, but I go through the software directly, just go to the next chapters. So the first question is that people are asking me during calls or in general in the support is, what is Breakcold vision? Essentially, vision right now is doing a couple of things. So the first thing is that it moves contacts automatically in the CRM. So it will update automatically in which list the contact will go, which tags will be assigned, and in which sales pipeline stages. Then it will also create tasks automatically, generate AI summaries about your contacts, and also you can ask AI questions about your leads, which is very helpful to prep for sales calls and other use cases. Some people already asked the question, so we added it. But you can disable some part of vision if you don't like it. We're going to talk about it in a couple of minutes. But essentially, if you're not satisfied with the job that the AI is doing, you can solve it by learning how to instruct better the AI, or you can just disable part of it. So this is pretty much vision in a nutshell, which leads us to the second point of what are AI leads. So in Breakcold, you will notice this vision button on some leads, and on the profile picture of the leads, you will see there's a rainbow stroke around them. AI leads are essentially leads where vision is running on them. So on Breakcold, by default, you have no limits when it comes to having contacts in the CRM, but you are limited in how many contacts are running with vision. So by default, every single new leads added to the CRM are AI leads. At some point, you might reach the limits of your plan, which can be 50 or 200 per team member or more if you're upgraded for more AI leads credits. Once you reach the limit, you can either remove those people from vision or add them back to vision. But what you need to understand is that AI leads, think of it as active leads. So when people are becoming inactive, so when you have lost deals or people who are not interested in your offer, you have no reason to get vision going because you don't want them to move automatically because there's no longer any new conversations. There's no need to create tasks automatically on them. The AI summaries, it's not useful because there's no new stuff happening, so why regenerate an AI summary? And you can still ask AI questions about them without having those contacts as vision leads. All right, so next we have the CRM tasks that are created automatically by vision. So in a nutshell, you have a CRM personality that will create your task automatically. And your CRM personality determines the frequency of the task creation, the name of the task, and the AI suggested emails and messages that will be generated. And so you can pick a template personality that we created, or you can create your own and design your own custom rules. For example, only create tasks for people in that specific list. Then the question I get a lot is how CRM contacts move automatically in the CRM. So long story short, depending on how you name your CRM list, pipeline stages, and tags, contacts move automatically and tags are auto-assigned. So technically, there is zero setup required to move CRM contacts automatically in the CRM. So Vision analyzes your email, message conversations, what you filled in the fields and custom fields notes, meetings, and more to categorize leads correctly. And usually people, they are either super satisfied or not satisfied with the categorization of the leads. And so this is why you need to use this thing, the playground, where you can test if people are moving like you expect. Then you have a full reasoning gave by the AI. And so essentially, to make sure everything moves like you want, you need to just experiment with natural language by giving instructions to the AI. And from there, you're just playing over and over with the playground. And usually within, I would say once you get it, within like 5 to 15 minutes, you will be able to fully automate the movement of leads, the categorization, the auto assignment of tags, everything. So this part is pretty important. And a question I get a lot as well is, what is the difference between like AI rules and AI guidance? So long story short, guidance is you give tips about the AI to figure out where to move leads. And then the rules is strict rules that need to be followed absolutely. So typically I use custom fields of my leads to influence on where they navigate in the CRM. So for example, I would say, I don't want leads with the custom field source, cold email, or anonymous visitors to be categorized in that list. And so from there, you can prevent like leads to move in a specific bucket. And then finally, when it comes to the features of Vision, we have the Vision summary. So it's essentially an AI summary that will be generated the first time you create the lead, but every time something happens with your contacts, there will be a new up-to-date summary that will be generated, which is like super helpful. So typically me, before jumping on calls, I just open the lead and then I just read the summary. I have the full context, so even when I'm late, it's like super helpful. Then you have Ask Vision. So on this, people are a bit like, they're still struggling to get how it works, because you can ask questions about your CRM contacts, but we don't have web browsing yet. It will come later down the line. And so you can ask questions related to your conversations, what happened during your meetings, like your social conversations as well, but it won't browse the internet to get more context. So this is very helpful if you already have long threads, long conversation threads with people, or like meetings that are synced using Fireflies. And from there, you can do some type of analysis. So typically using like what is called the speed selling method to analyze your leads and more. And when it comes to the tips to move leads automatically in the CRM, because some people, they're having a hard time to get it. But like I said, within like 5 to 15 minutes, once you get it, it's done. So my tips here is to name clearly your CRM lists, sales pipeline stages, and having simply prompts that just say, I'll let you judge what's best, which tend to work very well because the AI is better than you usually to understand how to move leads just by knowing the names of your stuff. So actually not giving too much instructions is a good thing unless you really know what you do. Then my second tip will be to, when you give guidance or strict rules to the AI, don't focus too much on the sales pipeline stages themselves, but rather focus on the lists. Once Breakcold figures out in which list the CRM contact should move, it's very easy for Breakcold to place them in the right sales pipeline stages. So I would put more my efforts in prompting correctly things in the list. And also, if you don't want the AI to even consider some of your lists or some of your sales pipeline stages to move leads in specific buckets, you can always disable the AI on those stages. All right, guys, so with that being said, let me show you how it looks like in Breakcold directly for each section of Vision. All right, guys, so the first thing I need to explain is what is the purpose of Breakcold Vision. So when it comes to Breakcold Vision, there's essentially 3 different purposes. The first purpose of Breakcold Vision is to automatically create your tasks so that you never miss a follow-up with your leads. So the goal is that you just show up on the dashboard and you're told what you need to do. And from there, it puts you directly in the right email thread or the right LinkedIn thread, and you just execute. And it's something where you can essentially be like super productive with your leads. The second goal of Breakcold Vision is to move your leads automatically in the CRM. So depending on what's happening with your leads, so meetings, conversations on email, LinkedIn, Telegram, WhatsApp, the CRM will be able to move leads automatically in the right places. So typically here, if I show you when we started to have like a proper conversation, the CRM automatically moved Christian to conversation started, and down the line, Christian booked the call, and automatically the CRM like updated Christian to my signups list into book the call, and I've done nothing to do this, which is great because from there it means that when it comes to your analytics, it's always up to date, and all the leads that moved here have been moved automatically by the AI. And so when it comes to moving leads automatically in the CRM, so this is how it works. It auto updates the list where your leads will go. It also updates the sales pipeline stage, so aka the status where the person will go, and also the tags. So essentially by listening to your different email conversations, LinkedIn convos, Telegram, also your meetings, your notes, pretty much everything, like even the fields and what you've completed in the CRM, it will sort the lead in the right category or categories, because obviously someone can be in multiple lists. So from there, it will move the person in the right buckets. And the third use case of Vision is to provide you with quick AI summaries of your leads. So this summary gets refreshed every single time that you have new stuff happening with your leads. So it's always up to date to the last conversations, the last meeting, the last notes pretty much. And also you can ask questions about the leads. So typically here, you can see that with Christian, I got a call. And so I can ask the AI to do some sales analysis. So can you analyze Christian with the spin selling method? And so from there, like by taking what happened during our sales call, our conversations and everything, I will get like a full analysis, a full breakdown using a typical and famous sales methodology about the lead. And from there, if you love, so there's many sales techniques out there. So you have the spin selling, you have the Sandler method or other methods. You can just prompt it and chat with the AI about it. And so from there, you can ask further question, like typically, where was I weak during the call? And then from there, the AI will just help you to get better and do a full breakdown of what you should do. And so those are basically the use cases of Vision at the moment. And not every single CRM contact is running on Vision. So this is the thing that maybe is not super obvious sometimes. So let me show you how this works. So right now in the CRM, if I zoom heavily on my CRM contacts, you can see that I have a little thing around the profile picture, like a rainbow stroke, right? And if I go to the very end of my leads here, you will see that here on Leon, I don't have any rainbow stroke. And so this is typically the difference between like an AI lead and someone that is not an AI lead. So then the question is, what is an AI lead? What is a Vision lead? So if you go to the settings here and you go to Vision, you can see that by default, like every single new people that you're gonna put in the CRM will be on Breakcold Vision, meaning that automatically the person will move in the CRM, automatically the task will be created, automatically the AI summaries will be generated inside the lead. So what you need to understand here is all about the mindset. And so as you can know, the cost of AI is decreasing every year, but it's still like crazy expensive to do a lot of stuff, especially in the CRM. So the long story short answer is that you're limited in terms of leads that are running with AI. Depending on your plan, it might be 50 leads per team member or 200 leads per team member usually. What you need to understand is that you don't need AI leads all the time. Because usually for each sales rep, it's very hard to work on more than 200 people at the same time and having 200 active leads. So instead of thinking in terms of AI leads, you should rather think in terms of like active leads versus non-active leads. We figured this out by analyzing the data of our customers, and we noticed that per sales rep, on average, people, they don't have more than 50 to 300 active leads where they're actually working per sales rep, so meaning having convos, working on them for sales purposes. This is how we came up with the system. So once we say that, what does it mean? It means that every time you're adding new people to the CRM, by default, there are people who are running with the AI, so you don't have to think about it. And usually when you have new people in the CRM, it's mostly active leads, active people where you started conversations with, or new positive replies from cold emailing, LinkedIn automation, or whatever. So this is fine. And at some point up there, you will reach pretty much like the limits. And so this is where you can bulk select leads and remove them from being vision leads. And so from there, tasks will not be created automatically. They will not move anymore in the CRM. But usually it's not a problem because first, you're not talking actively to those people. It's maybe deals you lost, people who are not interested in your offer, and they don't need to move automatically because they won't contact you again. So long story short, you don't have to think about this limit, but once you reach it, you can just disable the AI and that's it. If you want to quickly filter all your AI leads versus all the people in the CRM, you can just click here on the vision button and it will filter all the leads. So you see it's almost 10,000 here, and now it's only about 600. And so by doing this, you can just like filter the whole thing. All right, the final boring part about the settings is that if for some reason, after watching the entire tutorial, you don't like the AI, or you haven't managed to set it up correctly, and you need maybe to talk to us and to click on chat with us so that we can help you on setting this up, like you can always deactivate the part that you don't like. And we're gonna talk about this in a second. All right, so let's first talk about how you can create tasks automatically in the CRM. What you have to do is that you need to go to configure vision, and then you're gonna click on choose another personality. And so let me explain to you how this works, because I think when I was doing calls with some of you guys, some of you get it wrong, which is totally our fault, by the way. So I need to just be better at explanations, and we also need to improve the product for me to not even have to do this kind of videos. The first thing is that you can select different types of personalities, and depending on the personality that you will pick, it will influence your task creation. So when I'm talking about influencing the task creation, it will influence how the task is named. It will influence how frequent the tasks are created. So will it be created every 3 days? Will it be created every 7 days, etc., etc. Then it will influence the reasoning, because obviously you're giving instructions or you're picking instructions, and then it will influence the action plan. And finally, it will influence like the AI suggested message. So you see here, every single time I'm going to a task created by the AI, automatically here, I have an AI suggested message or an email, depending if it's like email, Telegram, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, you know, Breakcold does many things. And so you can also influence the generation of like such sentences and how it behaves. And so for that, again, you go to choose another personality. And so by default, we have created you a bunch of CRM personalities. If I take the aggressive one, typically, this one will create tasks every 3 business days if there have been no new interactions. If you haven't sent a new message or new email to the person, a task will be created. If the person didn't send you a new message or a new email in the last 3 days, a task will be created if you forgot to also send such message. And so from there, it will work pretty well. The thing to know is that the personalities that are set by default will create tasks for everything. So meaning that if you have 0 conversations with the person, a task will be created, which personally wasn't my favorite thing by default. So this is why I created my own custom personality. So typically here, if you scroll down, you can create your own CRM agent. And so if I click here, you can see I can give it a name. The name is just, it's not something crazy. It's just for you to have a name. And it can also influence how the mascot will look like. So typically you see here, like Super Saiyan 3, it will have a more buff like character. So depending on what you put, it will be a bit different. That is what the name is for. So if you want to have fun, just have fun with it. But from there, you will have a description. So the description will have a big influence of how the AI suggestion message will be on many different stuff. So the description, you can be like super creative. So I would give you my description because it's hard to explain without an example, I think. So typically here, this is the personality I am using at the moment. So here it says, MRR addict follow-ups consistently every 3 business days because he wants revenue to grow. He's casual but not too much. He only follow-ups leads when there is an existing conversation thread. With one exception, see AI rule of the personality. He doesn't create follow-ups otherwise. Essentially, how it works is that it will create tasks only with people where I have an existing conversation thread with. And so, because again, the default personalities, they create tasks for everything. Me, I just want tasks to be automatically created in specific scenarios. And so if I go to edit personalities, this is my description. I want the task to be created every 3 business days. So this is my follow-up frequency. Then I have the length of the emails and the AI suggestion message to be mid. So it won't be like super long. And from there, I want the AI suggestion message and emails to be adapted to the writing style of my leads. Essentially, the longer the thread is, the better. And the better will be the AI suggested message because it will adapt to how we're talking. So if I'm talking with like an enterprise and like it's very formal, it will adopt this formal way of speaking, of writing. If I'm like super casual, no capital letter with the person, etc., it will just be like super casual. Then we have the AI rules. So the AI rule is something that is very strict that will be followed by the AI when it comes to the task creation. So think of it as a way for you to get absolute control of how the tasks are created. So me, again, I told when to create the task, so only when there's an actual conversation thread, except in one scenario. And so this scenario is the following. So rule number 1, do not create follow-up tasks for leads where there has been 0 conversations. So this is the rule. Only create follow-ups when there is an existing conversation, at least 1 message or 1 email sent. An exception to rule number 1, when the lead is inside the list customers in the stage cancelled, not lost yet, and churn risk, create tasks with them even if there are 0 existing conversations with the lead. So this means that unless a specific scenario, like the tasks are only created when there is 0 conversation thread, and in that specific scenario, tasks will be created. So this is how flexible is the system. And then I said, for the name of the follow-up, name it in a way that summarizes what the conversation is about. And so if I go back to all the different tasks I have in the weekend, so a bit overdue, but it's fine, like usually within 20 minutes, I catch up. And so you see here it's about the trial, here's about sending the demo video, here about like the setup progress. And so everything is adapted and I know straight away what it is about. And from there it will influence like the reasoning and how the next steps are when it comes to sending the follow-ups. So I know it can sound a lot because I'm just talking so much in this video, but it's actually very easy. If you want something very basic and you don't want to think about it, you just go here, choose another personality, and you pick one of the default personalities and you set nothing, you have nothing to do. If you want something to do more complex and have more control, you create your personality here, and this is pretty much how it works. One of the first things I need to talk about when it comes to creating those tasks is they're asking me like how those tasks are generated. How it works, at least at the moment, is that when you're doing a conversation with someone, so maybe you're sending a message, you receive a message, and then you have a conversation for 10 minutes. What's gonna happen is that the AI will wait for the conversations to end. From there will be a run of the AI. It will check the situation of the lead, and then depending on what happened, it will move the lead in the CRM and also create a relevant task. Another question I get is what is happening if I'm sending a message or an email outside of Breakcold here? I've done the task outside of Breakcold. The task will be essentially erased from the dashboard. So if you do this not from vision, the CRM is not stupid. It listens to your different conversations. And so from there, it will just do an AI run and say, oh, okay, it has been done. It will just remove the task from the vision dashboard. What is very important to understand here is that the goal of this, when it comes to having a daily routine, is that you just arrive on this dashboard, you are told what you have to do, and then you just execute. So essentially you do all your tasks. And once you're done with it, you go to the email inbox or you go to the LinkedIn inbox and you just focus on active conversations. So with people who reply to you or like people you also need to follow up for whatever reason. And then you just do active convos and you spend just your time selling. You don't have to think about moving leads. You don't have to think about like creating other tasks. Your job is just to, you're told what you do it, then you focus on active convos because again, more conversations equals more sales. All right, so finally, let's talk about moving leads in the CRM automatically. I think there's been a lot of confusion so far on how the system works, and I think it's just our fault. We need to get better when it comes to having this very natural in terms of understanding. Let me explain to you the basics. So in Breakcold, like any CRM, as you know guys, you can have different CRM lists. So this is some CRM lists here. And you also have different sales pipeline stages for each list because one CRM list equals one pipeline, essentially. So one customer journey if you prefer. And so how the movement of leads works is that one, depending on how you named your CRM lists, and two, depending on how you named your sales pipeline stages, and three, depending on how you name your tags, the leads will move automatically in the CRM. So if we do an example for book to call, so you have a list, signups, you have a book to call stage. The fact that you named it book to call signifies to the CRM that if someone booked a call, so if by analyzing your emails, they see a Calendly notification that someone booked a call on your calendar, if the person is not at a later stage in the pipeline, it will move the lead in book to call because book to call is so obvious. Naming in a good way your sales pipeline stages is actually very important. So with that being said, this is pretty much the setup when it comes to moving leads automatically. And so from there are two scenarios. Scenario one, you are absolutely delighted about how the leads are moving automatically in the CRM, how the tags are auto-assigned, etc. Scenario two, you don't like how the AI is moving the leads automatically, you hate it, you just want to disable the AI or at least to understand how to improve it. So scenario one is obvious, so I will not talk about it. Let's talk about scenario two. So for scenario two, I will do two things. The first thing is that I will show you how to disable the AI or partially disable the AI. And in scenario two, I will show you how to tell the AI in just a couple of prompts how to move the leads in a better manner so that it follows strictly what you want to achieve. So first, if you're not satisfied with the movement of leads, you go to settings, you go to vision, and you can disable some of it. So typically, if you're not satisfied about the auto assign of tags, you can just disable it. So you can disable the auto assign of tags. So you see here, up, and then the leads will still move automatically in the right list, in the right sales pipeline stages, but the tags won't be auto-applied. Something that people don't understand is when it comes to the tags, right now, I think we can do improvements, but essentially if you name your tags correctly, you won't have problems. Because some people, they have like very strange name for the tags, and obviously the AI is not able to understand the strange name you might have for your tags, and from there it won't understand how it works. Because typically here I have, in my case, I have tags for US, UK, startup, solopreneur, EU, agency. So what is happening is that when it comes to the auto assignment of tags, so if I add someone from LinkedIn using the Chrome extension, and in the field location of the lead. The CRM knows that this person is from Denver, so it will just like location in the field of the person's profile. If Denver is as a location in the lead's profile, it will put the person in US because, you know, Denver is in the US, so it knows that this tag should be applied. The same for startup, solopreneur, agency, etc. So I don't know, if I talk with someone and he tells me he's an agency owner and he's running that agency for that purpose or whatever, the CRM, when it will listen to conversations, it will figure out that it's an agency, and from there it will apply the tag agency. Depending on your goals with the tags, it's very simple to not get this wrong. But if you have very different goals with your tags and your tags are not understandable by someone, AI or not, it's not understandable by someone who is not directly in your brain, it won't work. And so in that specific scenario, you can just disable the tags. Then for the lists and the statuses, it's easily solvable. So let me show you how to do this correctly. So if you go to vision and then you go to configure vision, and let's select one of the lists. So let's select typically signups here. All right, so when people arrive on this view for the first time, they don't get everything. So let me do a full breakdown. So this, a couple of things. So the first thing is that if you went through the onboarding, you will notice that by default on your account, you have some text in guidance, in AI rules, etc. The first solution that you can do if you are not satisfied with the movements of leads is actually to write this, I let you judge what's best, and then you're just gonna copy paste I let you judge what's best in every single steps. And I know it seems a bit counterintuitive, but the more we're thinking about this, the more we're realizing that the AI is better than them at explaining what should happen in a specific stage. Essentially, doing this typically solves the problem. I've noticed on quite a lot of customers now. So yeah, if you can always do this, that would be my first tip. If you see my account, this is how it works. You see, I have a bit of guidance, not every single time. I let you judge what's best. I let you judge what's best. I have lots of this, but we'll come to that a bit later. First, let's talk about the most important thing that people are missing is the playground. On the left side, if you click here, you can test if the leads are moving automatically like you expect. So typically you can search for people you know in the CRM. You can measure if they are moving in the right bucket that you are expecting. It's a good way for you to first understand what the system is doing, and from there you will adjust by going into the specific list and into the specific sales pipeline stages to adjust. So if we just do the test here, then we click on test analysis, it will take usually between like 30 seconds to 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how complex it is to figure out where to move the leads. But essentially from there you will be able to get the reasoning of the AI to understand how it thinks. And from my experience, once you know that you can do this within 5 to 15 minutes, the setup is done. Once you get it, it takes you about like 5 minutes to get it. And then in 15 minutes, you just modify everything with natural language. Done, like setup done. So don't panic, guys, it's not that difficult, and we'll make it better for you to in the future to be even more. So me, as you can see here, I don't have a problem. So you see the confidence is pretty high and I know it's the right thing. But essentially here you see the AI analysis, and so it will give you reasoning on why it moves the leads to that specific bucket. And so from there you can do some modifications regarding all of that. Let's say you're not satisfied about how the leads are moving. The first thing you will do is to focus on the list first. So you see here, when I click on the list, I can prompt, give guidance and strict rules to the AI, and I can do this in every single list. So you see I can navigate between the lists and from there giving different rules. So the first thing is that you should start with your list, because naturally the CRM will first say, okay, this person should go in that list or that list or that list. Usually once you get the list down, it's pretty easy for the system to then figure out in which sales pipeline stage the person should go. So actually your full energy should be in like prompting the list. In my case, just see how it works, is I'm saying that when I have leads that have zero information that can help you to put them in a list, put them in this list. Other leads can also go in that list. And so the prompt, I know it sounds a bit weird, but when I'm adding people in the CRM, sometimes I don't have any insights on them because they just sign up to my CRM on Stripe. And so they just arrive with one email address. And so from there, I can make sure they go every single time in that list. And then I've done some adjustments all the time. So you can see here in use free trial, put the lead here when the lead has been created recently and that there are no informations to help you categorize the person elsewhere. And then we have conversation started. For a conversation started to happen, there should be at least one reply from the lead. If it's just one message email sent by me, it doesn't count. So I'm just making sure that it will never put people in conversation started if they've never replied to me. Then book the call, put people where I sent my calendar link and that they booked a time from what we understand in the convo. A note can also indicate that the call has been booked, and because the CRM is listening to my email conversations, when someone booked a call on my Calendly, usually I have emails about it, so it also knows about it and is able to move the leads super easily in the bucket. Now, once I've said that, let me show you how it looks like in another list. So if I go to the outbound plus inbound visitors here, you see, I say I let you judge what's best. And maybe it's a good way to explain what is the difference between guidance and AI rules. So like it says, guidance is about like giving tips. So you're not giving a strict rule, you're just helping the AI to understand if the leads should move in that bucket. AI rules is something like very strict. Here you can see that you have to do this. You cannot find a way around this. You have to do this. And so I'm saying to Breakcold, like put in this list only leads that have as a custom field source, cold email, or anonymous visitors. And so if I go to my list in people and I go to outbound plus inbound visitors, you can see that if I go here and then I go to the pipeline and let's open Alano Vasquez, for example. So you can see that the source of the lead is anonymous visitor. Now, if you connected the dots, you can realize that I can do prompts when it comes to the informations that are inside my leads, whether it's as a note, whether it's in a field. It's like super powerful because you can create strict rules on how leads are moving in the CRM just by the data that you have in the field. If I go back to the vision flows and let me show you something in like customers on this like retention M2, you can see here I'm saying that put leads that have been subscribed for more than 2 months. It's very interesting because again, if I go to one of those leads, one of those customers, you can see here that I have a custom field, which is a date, and I'm giving the subscription date of the person. And so meaning that every time the AI is doing a check on the lead, it will refresh if it has been more than 1 month or more than 2 months or more than 3 months that the person has been subscribed. And from there, it will move the lead automatically to the next stage, which in my case is retention M2, retentions months 2. And so just a way for me to differentiate between leads that have been retained and the ones that haven't. And so when it comes to what you can do here, you can do a lot of stuff, as you can imagine. And so depending on the different rules you're making, I would strongly suggest you to just retry with the 1 to 5 people you have in mind, so that within usually 10 to 15 minutes, you know exactly if the leads move in the right category. If you don't like the tags, like I said, again, you go back to settings because the tags, it's different scenarios, and then you can just auto disable the auto assign of tags. But when it comes to the auto assign of lists and the auto assign of statuses, or AKA sales pipeline stages, again, I want to emphasize that just take those 10 minutes, because once you've done it, you have nothing to do. The only thing you have to do is to show up on this dashboard, do your tasks. When the tasks are done, you focus on active conversations in email and the LinkedIn inbox, or Telegram and WhatsApp, depending on what you're using. And that's pretty much about it, guys. Finally, another thing that I wanted to talk about here is what you are actually capable of. So at the moment, you can do tons of different workflows, but I saw sometimes people trying to do things that are not possible yet. They were saying, yeah, wait 2 days when the lead arrives in that stage and then send an email. So this will be possible in the future. It doesn't exist yet. This is just the first version, but as you can imagine, you can do a lot of stuff when it comes to automating the CRM. So if you have any ideas, you know where to find us. You just go here, you click on chat with us, and you send us all the recommendations and all the ideas you might have to improve the system. All right, now let's talk about the AI summaries that Vision is producing for your leads. So if you go to each lead that is running on Vision, you will see that you have what we call like the AI Vision summary. So this is automatically generated by the AI. For now, you don't have control on this. So it's just something that will auto-populate depending on every conversations, every meetings, every note you have with the lead. And so it will dynamically refresh itself when there's a new run on the AI on your leads. So this is pretty much how this works. So from my own experience, I would say it is very helpful when you are prepping for a call and you need to jump quickly in the call. You just see this. I use it every single time. So I just open the lead. What I do is I tend to do a Command K, and then I will type for the name of the lead or just copy paste the email of the lead. And from there, I will just jump straight away inside the lead. And so if you do like Command K and you just type the name of the lead, or you copy paste the email address of the lead from your meeting in Google Calendar or Zoom or whatever, like it's super helpful, and then you arrive straight away in the lead, and that's it. Another thing you can do is that you can ask the AI about the lead. So typically, if you don't like the AI summary, you can always make your own by asking the AI. So here I can say, I know I had conversations with Christian so far. We had a meeting that is right here with all the transcript that has been synced. And I can just ask the AI to make like a specific sales summary. So I can say, generate me a spin selling analysis on Christian. And so if you don't know what spin selling is, it's a traditional sales methodology to analyze your leads and from there to take some decisions. And so it's a good way to prep for calls because you have one for in spin selling the situation, then you have what the problem is about, then the implication and the need payoff. And so because in the settings right here, if I go back to the settings to Vision, because here in the settings of Vision, you've explained what your company is about and what is your sales process, it will make the link directly to the conversation using the spin selling method. And so I think it's a good way to prep for call in just one prompt. And you can always ask other things to the AI. So from there, you can just ask for a spin selling analysis. And from there, you can say, what are my weaknesses with this lead? And yeah, you can just have like a real chat. So think ChatGPT, but for a CRM. And so yeah, that's pretty much how it works. All right, so the thing that is pretty important about asking the AI about the lead is that it only uses the information in the CRM about the lead. So for now, we don't have like web browsing capabilities. It's something we want to add later down the line so that you also have enrichment when you ask questions about the lead. But for now, like everything that the AI will reply to you will be linked to what is in the custom fields, what is in your email and LinkedIn convos, meetings, social posts, last notes, but not something where the AI will browse on the internet. So something very important to notice, and down the line we will add web browsing. Alright guys, if you like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to that YouTube channel for more content like this, and click on this video if you want to learn my favorite sales CRM workflows. Cheers, ciao.